Since Donald Trump became president of the United States, Solana saw an absolute crash in the price. And yes, this might also be related to the Trump meme coin launch. Now the question is this potentially an opportunity to buy low? Because in the end, crypto is all about buying low and selling high and doing the opposite of what the masses are doing. Now here's the recent price development of SOL. The peak was on the 19th of January at $287, and since then we went down by 61%. The 19th of January was also when the Trump meme coin got launched, and that of course went down even more. But actually, this price development of Solana is not necessarily a surprise. When we just look at historical charts, we look at Solana's dominance. So how important is Solana as a fraction of all of crypto? We do seem to have somewhat of an invisible ceiling. So that's this chart over here, and it seems to top out somewhere between 3 and 3.5%. Just have a look at this bear market where FTX collapsed as well. Solana underperformed all of crypto by 83%. Now this is not a US dollar decline. This is even on top of how much Bitcoin, etc. went down as well. It looks like currently we are just at the beginning of a potential similar correction. So far we have come down 40%. Now I've published several videos on Solana on this channel, and I invite you to check what did other influencers say around January of this year. Were they bullish or bearish on Solana? Here's my video around that time. Again, the Solana dominance in the background, noting how potentially Solana could be overvalued. Now, Solana is unlikely going to make a 100x from here, right? It's simply a very large market cap, so it tends to be just an asset that's used for diversification within a crypto portfolio. But in the end, because of that, it competes directly with Bitcoin, right? If we take on a bit more risk by buying Solana over Bitcoin, we should also expect more return than Bitcoin. Thus, I very much like to look at the Solana chart, not just in US dollars, but actually measured in Bitcoin. How does it perform relative to BTC? And that's what we find over here. It doesn't even look that different to the Solana dominance chart, but we can see that even with the recent rally that was fueled by meme coin trading, Solana did not reach a new high relative to Bitcoin. It actually lost versus BTC. And now recently, the negative momentum is accelerating. Where could a potential bottom be? The optimistic case is maybe a drop versus BTC by another 50%, potentially even by another 62%. But let's work with 50%. And let's also work with the assumption that Bitcoin isn't going to fall any further from here, which I don't think is likely, but still, right, let's be positive. In that case, we'd see a Solana price of $55 roughly. If Bitcoin was to fall, then of course Solana would go down even further. Now here's the problem with Solana and with the recent rally. A lot of that price appreciation happened because of meme coin trading. But meme coin trading is slowing down because in essence, it's a player versus player game. So the people that know the game, the people that are insiders or that know on-chain analytics very well, they made money during that time. The vast majority of people just lost. And once you've lost your money, you're unlikely going to cash in again. This here are the trending tokens on Solana ordered by their liquidity pool size. And it's pretty much all just meme coins. It's nothing else. And here is the pump.fun ecosystem. So that's the launch pad of meme coins on Solana, and the number of deployed transactions on the platform tends to decline rather rapidly. Yes, the entire crypto space currently is having a hard time. This is the total value locked, so the capital across all chains within decentralized finance. And that's going down since the middle of December of last year. We peaked at 132 billion and currently we are at 88 billion. But in the last month, Solana was one of the blockchains that lost the most. And so its total value locked fell much more. It fell by roughly 50% in the last few months. The problem really is that most altcoins and especially meme coins just get generated in order to extract capital from the retail investor. They have nothing to do with innovation. They have nothing to do with developing crypto forward. The vast majority of altcoins tends to underperform most of the time. I mean, have a guess at the following. In the last month, Bitcoin went down by 7%. If we were now to look at the top 100 altcoins in terms of market cap, how many of those altcoins also went down? Is it 60%? Is it 70%? How likely is it to outperform Bitcoin during market phases like this? And again, we went down by quote unquote only 7%. We didn't really see a crash in the last month. Here is the answer. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 altcoins that made money in the last month. And 2 of those altcoins are actually coupled with the gold price. So in reality, it's only 9 altcoins that made money. And again, that's out of the top 100. The likelihood of losing money in altcoins when Bitcoin is just correcting a little bit is 90% roughly. Solana in the last month, by the way, fell by 19%. And so that then begs the question, does it really make sense to try to fish for bottoms when there's still quite a bit of downside potential, at least in the historical trading range? I have got my strong doubts. Even the altcoin dominance, so this is others.d, this is how much of all of crypto is in the altcoins that are not in the top 10, even that continues to decline very rapidly and it's breaking a long-term adoption trend. I do believe that we are likely going to go down further from here. Again, meme coin trading is cooling off quickly. Retail got burned too much. Here is what I believe needs to happen. Bitcoin dominance has to reach 70% roughly for another altcoin season to take place. Because that was the turnaround in the past, right? When Bitcoin dominance is going down, that's when the altcoins are rallying. But we are still very far away from this. Bitcoin dominance continues to climb and it might continue to climb for the rest of the entire year. I don't think it makes sense to try to find the 1 or 2 winners in a market where everything continues to bleed consistently. Doesn't it make much more sense to just bet on falling prices, to simply have the odds in our favor? When most altcoins do poorly and when Bitcoin tends to rather go down, then why don't we have odds of 90-ish% in order to perform? Again, most altcoins underperform Bitcoin most of the time. They only tend to outperform when there's altcoin season, and that doesn't happen too often. Now, if you've been following this channel for a while, then you know that I'm advocating for shorting altcoins already since Bitcoin hit 100K. And so the community is shorting massively, potentially also with leverage. And this is where those kinds of profits come from. Those are trades directly shared by community members. So if you've got a bit of leverage, if you manage that leverage properly, there are nice gains in a market like this. It's not about picking the winners, it's about betting on the general direction. My impression is that simply the vast majority of people are too scared to bet on falling prices. Most people think it's too risky. Most people think you can lose everything, you can get liquidated, etc. And while this is true, it's all about risk management. If we take the right platforms, if we take the right leverage, and if we've got proper position sizing, we can make quite a lot of money during times like this. I actually believe it's easier to make money in a bear market than in a bull market. Again, because the odds are in our favor. In a bull market, we have to find the few altcoins that do several X returns, but still returns are very much concentrated in a few assets. In a bear market, everything is going down. We just have to be directionally correct and we have to short the pumps. So we do the exact opposite of what we do in a bull market. In a bull market, we buy the dips. In a bear market, we short the pumps. And so I've created more than 100 tutorial videos just on that, how to do position sizing, how to do risk management, how to use shorting, and of course also how to do on-chain analytics. So feel free to check it out. The link is down below. It's thebitcoinstrategy.com. It's currently $125 per month, not $165. I've reduced the rate again because so many people got burned during this bear market. And I want to open this up to more people that actually do have interest to beat the market during times like this. Again, it's really not that complicated. The trades in the community are living proof. It's just about being directionally correct and then find opportunities of the altcoins that are especially weak. If it's your first time here, feel free to subscribe. I publish here regularly. A like would be very much appreciated as well. It helps the channel grow. See you next time on YouTube or see you in Premium. Cheers.